3 interceptions, a fumble, and a blocked field goal. That is the math equation for a 1-3 overall record, which the Raiders are, and really wasted and squandered a hell of a performance for Maxx Crosby and Ashton Jeanty. We'll talk about that plus more on Monday's edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast for September 29th, 2025.
You are Locked On Raiders, your daily Las Vegas Raiders podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome in, Raider Nation, to another edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast. Thank you so much for making the show your first listen of the day. We definitely appreciate you. If you're catching the show wherever you find your favorite podcast, or you're checking us out by way of the YouTube page, you know we appreciate both. Show grows each and every day because of your support and the great job that my man Ari does behind the scenes, making sure we look good and sound good each and every day. And trust and believe, lately, it's been really hard to make us sound good, as, again, I have a case of somewhat of losing my voice. So, Ari, good luck. Ari's got to do his best job, and he will, because he always does. So we appreciate him. We shout him out. He's on Twitter at Ari Produces. I'm on Twitter as well, at your boy Q254. And if you want to be a part of the show, got the Locked On Raider podcast voicemail line for you at 707-654-4693. We'll close out the show hearing from you when the Raiders lose 25-24 in a game that, 1, they needed to have, and 2, they should have had. You can imagine what kind of calls and texts we got. So we got plenty of feedback. We'll get to as much as possible coming up in segment number 3 as we close out the show. Segment number 2, we'll talk about the big elephant in the room. Last week, the big elephant in the room was the offensive line. This week, the big elephant in the room is the guy that the offensive line protects. Quarterback Geno Smith, who's now thrown 7 interceptions on the season, 6 at home at Allegiant Stadium, which is a problem. It's a trend. It's not good. It's very concerning, and we'll talk about it, break it down in segment number 2. Here in segment number 1, news and notes of the day, and following the game, I really like to just have the game flow. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Off top, the Raiders lose 25-24 to the Chicago Bears, and got a couple injuries that are concerning for the Silver and Black. Most importantly, Kolton Miller, the left tackle. He went down late in the game with an ankle injury, had to get carted off the field, and I did see him in the locker room following the game. He was on crutches on his way to the showers, and so we didn't get a chance to talk to him because obviously he's injured, so we don't get to talk to injured players. Pete Carroll said after the game that he had an ankle sprain. It probably is a high ankle sprain, but I'm not a doctor, so I'm not diagnosing that. I'll ask again today when we meet with Pete Carroll this morning around 11 o'clock at the Intermountain Health Performance Center. So hopefully he'll have a little bit better idea, but more than likely, Kolton Miller is probably going to miss a little bit of time. And then also cornerback Eric Stokes, he went down late in the game, and he did not return, and so Darian Porter took over for him, and Pete Carroll said after the game that Stokes wanted to go back in. He was running along the sideline, but just they held him out for precaution. Well, that's the same thing he said about Brock Bowers, and we know he's been hobbled for the last, ever since week 1, since he got banged up in week 1. So, again, we'll get an injury update from head coach Pete Carroll later on this morning. Geno Smith on the day, 14 for 21, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions, and 7 interceptions on the season, 6 in 2 home games. That just can't happen. Again, we'll talk about it in great detail in segment number 2. But, man, just talking about putting the team in a hole, especially in a game where, 1, the Bears, I didn't know who they were going into this game. A lot of people asked me, and I ran into a lot of Raider Nation at Allegiant Stadium, so shout out to you. I definitely appreciate meeting and greeting with you and hanging out with you and being able to chop it up. Everyone asked, what did I think about the Bears? I said I didn't know. I didn't know what team this Bears was. Were they a team that beat the brakes off the Cowboys and the Cowboys just stink, or are they like a team that's starting to come together? Well, after that game on Sunday, I realized that they stink. The Bears are not good. Right now, they won the game, so I got to give them credit for that, but they did everything they could to help and assist the Raiders in winning it, and the Raiders said, no, we don't want to win it. You want to win it. And really a lot of that I put squarely on the arm and shoulder of Geno Smith, who, again, 7 interceptions on the season. Ashton Jeanty, everybody's been waiting for him to have the big breakout game. He did. 21 carries, 138 yards. He ran for 64 yards, took it to the house. It was fantastic. 2 touchdown catches on the day as well. And he went back to his original stance. The way that he was standing in the backfield, he wasn't, hunched over like what we were talking about back in, OTAs and mandatory minicamp and training camp where, Chip Kelly and Dylan McCullough, the running backs coach, wanted him to stand a certain way in the backfield. He went back to what was more comfortable with him, and he had a really good day. Now, if there was going to be a day he would have a good day, it would be against the Bears, who were struggling to stop the run. So we talked to Lauren Cox from Locked On Bears on Crossover Thursday, and he said, I think this is a day that Ashton Jeanty probably can break out. Well, he did. The Raiders in general had a great day on the ground. They ran for 240 yards as a team. Raheem Mostert, who was up for the first time, 4 carries, 62 yards of his own. Geno Smith was able to run. There was a big day on the ground. But again, all wasted because the Raiders lose the game 25-24. Ashton Jeanty, and this is according to Raiders PR, Ashton Jeanty has passed Darren McFadden for the second most rushing yards by a rookie in Raiders history in their first 4 career games, only behind Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs had 307 in 2019, and Ashton Jeanty 272 now in through 4 games. So just like that, is as slow of a start as he got off to the first 3 weeks, all of a sudden, boom, big performance in week 4, and now he's in a much better position, looks a lot better, and now everyone's like, oh, okay, that's the guy. That's the talent that is Ashton Jeanty. He's also only the 4th Raiders rookie to have 3+ scrimmage touchdowns in a single game, joining Bo Jackson, Marcus Allen, and Raymond Chester. So pretty good company he's keeping there. And to go a little further, Ashton Jeanty is the 6th NFL rookie in the Super Bowl era to have a game with 2+ receiving touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. He joins Devon Achane, Chase Claypool, Kareem Hunt, Joey Galloway, and Lynn Kane. So again, it's great to say everything that Ashton did, and it was great to see him have a breakout performance. But it all goes for nothing because they lost the game. And that's really was his focus in the locker room following the game when I asked him about this tough loss.
Ashton, how tough is a loss like this when you guys felt like you had it and then it slipped away at the end there?
Tough, man. I mean, we have less turnovers, and, that starts with me, giving the defense better field position. I just think it would be a different game, but we're going to get back and watch the film and see how we can get better.
After that fumble in the first quarter, something in you flipped. Was there any conversations on the sideline, or what did you dig into?
Next play mentality. I mean, football is never going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make bad plays sometimes, but you can't make it worse by, staying stuck on that play. And me personally, I just wanted to move on and, continue to do what I need to do to help the team win.
Do you feel like that's the overall mentality of this team as well after this kind of a loss?
100%. I mean, we'll feel the way we want to feel about it tonight, but, tomorrow when we wake up and we watch film, it's a new day, it's a new week, and it's a new opportunity.
So there was a lot more to the conversation with Ashton Jeanty in the locker room, but I just wanted you to hear just a couple, not even a couple minutes of what he had to say about the loss, and then obviously trying to get back to the grind, like figuring it out on Sunday night, and then all of a sudden, boom, get back to the grind and know that they have to go on the road for the Indianapolis Colts. But that was a tough one, man. That was one that you would like to see that big time performance get rewarded with a victory. And that wasn't the only big time performance that the Raiders had on Sunday. Defensively, they had a big time performance from Maxx Crosby, and he did exactly what a lot of us have been asking for, wanting to see him just take over the game. It was something that Ben Johnson, the Bears head coach, talked about in his press conference leading into the game on Sunday, and Maxx did exactly that. The Raiders as a team had 8 tackles for losses, but Maxx had 3. Devin White had 1. Pratt had 1. Adams had 1. Kuntz had 1. Wilson had 1. Maxx had 3. Maxx also had 3 passes defense. He had an interception and a quarterback hit. Yeah, he did all that, right? And it's funny, he didn't get a credit for the sack when he caused the Caleb Williams fumble, and I was wondering why. I was like, wait, hold on, how did he not get a sack for that? So I went and asked Raiders PR in the press box, and he said because they considered it basically like it was a loose snap. It was a bad snap, so Caleb Williams was already under duress, so they didn't give Maxx credit for a sack. They didn't give him credit for the TFL. At first, they gave him credit for the forced fumble, but then it looks like they took that away as well. So that's unfortunate for Maxx because that would have been, even bigger performance. But again, it's in a loss. Maxx posted his second career game with 3 passes defense, only defensive lineman in the NFL in 2025 with 3+ passes defense in a single game. Also, and this is from Raiders PR as well, Crosby is one of only 9 defensive linemen in the NFL since 2000 to record multiple games with 3+ passes defense. So a big-time performance from Maxx. He was very disappointed in the Raiders locker room following the game. As he said, I don't care about last year. I don't care about individual stats. I go to try to wreck every game, but at the end of the day, he just wants to win and knows that they blew a huge opportunity in their own building to get a win and go to 2-2. 2-2 is way different than 1-3. Also, side note, how about Jackson Powers-Johnson? Right, he had missed the last 2 games. The first game he missed because of a concussion. Then he wasn't out there and playing in game number 3 against Washington, against the Commanders. But he was out there and he was making an impact on Sunday. He brought the nasty, he brought the attitude on a couple of Geno's interceptions that he threw. He actually made the tackle. Matter of fact, on the very first interception Geno Smith threw, it should have been a house call by Kevin Byard, and instead Jackson Powers-Johnson squared up, boom, and right when he went to make a move, not only tackled him, but drove him into the ground. So he was responsible for the Bears only getting 3 points on that first pick of Geno's. And, if you look at it, even though Geno threw 3 picks and the Raiders also fumbled, the Bears got 13 points off of that. And they got all those 13 points off of Geno's three interceptions, because the fumble by Ashton Jeanty that was on a 4th down where he got stuffed anyway, Maxx Crosby came back, deflected the ball, and ended up getting an interception. So they didn't score any points off of that one, but they scored 13 points off of Geno Smith's interceptions. But Jackson Powers-Johnson was out there. He was looking like a man possessed. He was looking like he was trying to hit anybody, and that's exactly what they want to see from JPJ. So it's something that we had talked about last week, that I just like to see him go out there and put his will on somebody, and that's exactly what he did. And it's funny, watching the game on Sunday, it made me go back to the tweet from Angie B late last week, where she said, many of us have bosses or people in power who do not like us and do everything to kill our shine at work. My advice to JPJ, make it so obvious, ball out, that's if they let him get on the field, which they did, that it's undeniable. As far as Pete's son, he's a 40-year-old man, time to get your own job. He's going to inherit his dad's money anyways, from Angie B. Point was, JPJ, go out there and ball out. You go out there and ball out, they can't keep you off the field. And there was no doubt about it, the way he went out there and performed on Sunday, they just couldn't keep him off the field. He is the only one that can keep him off the field at this stage of the game. He was an absolute monster. And if he can create that consistency along that offensive line, then maybe you start to see this offensive line come together, because, again, that wasn't the big elephant in the room on Sunday, right? Did it have its moments? Sure. And now with Colton Miller down, and who knows how long he's going to be down, it could also be a big issue, right, for the Raiders moving forward. But it was not the big problem on Sunday. The big problem was the quarterback, Geno Smith. He threw 3 interceptions. We'll talk about that coming up. Segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Before we get to that, though, I do want to tell you about a couple great sponsors here on the show, and the first one is PrizePicks. Every day we make decisions, but on PrizePicks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Playing PrizePicks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You pick more or less on player projections, like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley's rushing yards for a touchdown, and you're in the game just like that. It's fun, it's quick, it's easy. You can make your lineup in under a minute. And PrizePicks just added stacks. If you want to ride with the player, you can select their passing yards, rushing yards, and touchdowns all in one lineup. And the new injury report reboot feature, if your player leaves early, doesn't return, it won't count against you. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use promo code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's Locked On NFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. I also want to tell you about Rugiet Go Long. Check this out. I got a joke for you. What do you get when you have a bald eagle standing on top of a silverback gorilla riding a T-Rex? It's a tough one, huh? Confidence, pure confidence. And if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Go Long. That's where Rugiet Go Long comes in. It's not just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in one dual-action formula so you can feel the moment and go the distance, if you know what I'm talking about. The effects can last up to 36 hours, which gives you confidence all day, all night, and even into the next day. The process is simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly and right to your door. Right now, you're ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Of course you are. Head to Rugiet.com and use the promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 15% off your order. That's Rugiet, RUGIET.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Make sure to use the code so they know that we sent you, and get hooked up. RUGIET.com, Rugiet.com. All right, Raider Nation, here we go. Segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Time once again to talk about the big elephant in the room. And I'll be so happy when we could just give out game balls, when we could talk about everyone balling out. Obviously, if we were giving out game balls for today's show, we would be giving out game balls to Ashton Jeanty and Maxx Crosby. But you can't give out game balls for a loss. Now, side note, Ashton Jeanty did get a game ball. I saw him walking out of the locker room with that game ball in his hand, which is well-deserved, but unfortunately, it comes with a loss. And as he said, yeah, the individual stats are great, but I just care about wins, right? Got to get another W, and the Raiders don't have that right now as they're sitting at 1-3. So last week, the big elephant in the room was the offensive line. They gave up 5 sacks to Geno Smith, and really he was running for his life the entire time. Ashton Jeanty didn't have very many holes to go ahead and run through. This week, the offensive line wasn't the big issue. The offensive line could be the big issue again now with Colton Miller going down, but now it's Geno Smith. And now all of a sudden what he's doing is becoming routine. It's becoming a habit. It's becoming something like this is who you are, right? In 2 games at Allegiant Stadium, he's thrown 6 interceptions now. 7 total interceptions on the season. He only has 6 touchdown passes, right? So now he has less touchdowns than he has interceptions. And if you go back to what he did in Seattle last year, what was it? 20 and 15. 20 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. And all we talked about leading up to this season is he's got to be closer to 30 and not closer to 10 when it comes to touchdowns to interceptions. Right now, it looks like he's going to fly right over 10, right? Because, hell, every time he's at home, he throws 3. Like, that's just not going to work. And at some point, and I'm not saying this right now, and I know Pete Carroll was asked about Geno Smith and did they think about sitting him down and going to Kenny Pickett. At some point, you're going to have to think about that. And I'm not saying that right now. I'm not saying through the first quarter of the season you go turn your attention to Kenny Pickett and let him be the quarterback because look, there's not really some great options there. Right? I mean, Geno Smith is the best quarterback that they have on the roster. Kenny Pickett, there's a reason why he's on his 4th team. He went from Pittsburgh to Philly to Cleveland to he's on his 4th team in only a handful of seasons. So it's not like he's all of a sudden, gonna cure all issues that the Raiders have at their quarterback position. But Geno Smith's got to do something. He's got to do something better than what he's doing. Right after he threw the first 3 interception performance against the Chargers on Monday Night Football, maybe you could chalk that up to, all right, you know what? He was extra hyped up. It was Monday Night Football. It was the season home opener. It was a whole Raider crowd. Like, all eyes were on it. Maybe he was a little amped up and a little hyped up. Okay, so that's why you go out and have bad performance. But now all of a sudden you do it again at home. Now all of a sudden, like I said, you're creating a habit. And I always talk about consistency. Who are you consistently? Right? I don't need you to be the guy that throws 1 interception and goes through 362 yards and a couple touchdowns in week 1 and think, okay, that's who he's going to be or that's who he's closer to. No, right now he's closer to the guy that throws 3 interceptions a game because we've seen it. So, again, not calling for him to be benched right now, not doing any of that. But at some point, if this consistency keeps happening, they're going to have to do something. Right. And right now, the way that the season's feeling, this game was such a game that they needed to have, they had to have, and it was right there. And the Bears tried to hand it to them, tried to gift wrap it. It's like it was almost like that Spider-Man meme. They're looking at each other, pointing at each other. You take it. No, you take it. No, you take it. No, you take it. I don't want it. You take it. That's how it felt throughout the course of the game. And obviously, the Bears did enough at the end to go ahead and win it. But Geno, now this is becoming a problem. Right. And I think this is a big time reminder that the Raiders still don't have their franchise quarterback. And obviously, there's nothing they can do about getting their franchise quarterback right now. There's not. All right, they got Geno. They extended him. That's fine. They've got Aiden on the roster. He can't stay healthy. We know that. That's one of the issues with him, unfortunately. Right? I mean, it just seems like every time he gets an opportunity to go out there, he gets banged up within a start or two, or even in that game, like we just saw him get banged up. Again, not his fault. It just happens. And then, of course, you got Kenny Pickett. So the franchise quarterback is not on the roster. The Raiders are obviously at some point going to have to get that taken care of. One of these, off seasons, they're going to have to go and just make a decision. We're going to go get our quarterback, right? There was a lot of conversations about Geno Smith. Maybe he can be very Rich Gannon-like, and maybe he can. Again, I don't want to hit the panic button through 4 games because we know it's a long season, but you're still a quarter of the way through. And now you're leading the league. If you're not leading the league in interceptions, you're really close with 7. So, I mean, I like his belief in his arm. I like the fact that he's, a guy that could throw the ball down the field. He's not ashamed to throw the ball down the field, but now he's just putting the ball in harm's way too many times. Now he's staring down his receivers way too much. And on go-to plays, it feels like, okay, they're going to go to Jacoby Myers, right? They kind of know that they're going to go to Jacoby Myers, and it gives these guys opportunities to go jump those routes. So that's what you're seeing. That's a problem. I even thought on the last drive, and I know that the field goal got blocked, but on the last drive when they were doing these little quick hitters to the outside, real quick to the sideline, I kept thinking like, oh man, someone's going to jump it. They know what's coming. They know that he's going to continue to throw this. He went one side to the short side. I think he went to Trey Tucker, and then to the top side he went to Jacoby Myers. And I'm thinking, all right, the next one he goes to, whoever he throws it to, somebody's going to jump that route. Because they see it coming. They've been studying it, and they see it coming. They know his tendencies. So he's got to clean that up. That's going to be a big problem, right? And then, as much as we like to see Ashton Jeanty get going, you're going to need a balanced attack. It can't just be the whole Ashton Jeanty show where he's just going to run, and then not be able to trust the quarterback. And at this stage of the game, you're getting that nervous energy when he drops back to pass just because of what he's done. You don't want to have that. And the Raiders don't want to have that because now all of a sudden that's limiting the playbook. If he's in one of these zones like he was in on Sunday, what's Chip Kelly calling? How much is he limited to his play calling? Right? Does he trust him to continue to put the ball in the air? And he's going to say all the right things. He's not going to say, well, no, I don't trust him. But how could you not be, at least a little concerned when you're seeing all those interceptions that are being thrown? That game on Sunday was 100% on Geno's arm. That was 100%. There was a time in the game where he had more completions to Kevin Byard than he did to any of his wide receivers. Now, I know he threw a couple touchdown passes to Ashton Jeanty. Finally got like 5 completions to Brock Bowers and 4 completions, I think, to Jacoby Myers. But there was a point where it was like 1 for Jacoby, 1 for Brock, 1 for Jeanty, and he had already thrown 2 interceptions to Byard, right? And so that's just he's got to figure out how to clean that up. He told us the other day after it happened the first week, when they were headed to Washington, how he had to be efficient. He couldn't make those kind of mistakes, but now it's continuing to creep up. So that's a big time problem. And at some point, you're going to have Pete Carroll sit down and make a decision on what they're going to do if this keeps going. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Similar to what we were talking about the offensive line, I don't think that there's going to be any kind of changes until, at least the bye week. And even then, I still would doubt that there's any changes with the quarterback, even in the bye week, unless he's just completely stinking it up. And he's got multiple more games, 2 or 3 interceptions, and just not playing with any kind of confidence. I saw him in the locker room; he was visibly upset. I know he spoke to the media. I didn't go out to that press conference just because I was in the locker room trying to talk to some different players. But when he came back, he was angry. Slammed his helmet down. He slammed his locker. I mean, he was pissed, right? And I get it because he wants to go out there and perform at a high level. But something about it, when he gets in Allegiant Stadium, he's just not getting it done. He's got 1 interception on the road and 6 at home. So somehow, some way, he's got to find a way to clean that up. But this is becoming a troubling problem of Geno Smith. I even had someone hit me on Twitter and direct message. He said, Happy Feet DC is a better quarterback than Geno. It's not even close. This has to change quickly. Hell, we're going to pay Geno next year no matter what, so we need him to wake up. That was just a direct message that I got from a member of Raider Nation that was very upset by the performance of the QB. So last week we talked about the performance of the offensive line. Can it get better? Now we're talking about the performance of the quarterback. It has to get better. There are no options. What I say, non-negotiables, that is a non-negotiable. But what's on your mind? Your calls and texts will close out the show, 707-654-4693. We'll close it out. Hearing from you next. Before we get to that, though, I do want to tell you about a couple great sponsors here on the show, including 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients, with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. And what I love most about it is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot, take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of times I put them in my backpack and take them right into Allegiant Stadium with me. So gets late in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter, or I know I'm about to go down into the locker room. I need to get a little pep in my step. Boom. Able to take that 5 Hour Energy. They got so many great flavors to choose from. Sometimes if I don't have it in my backpack and I'm, not going portable with it, sometimes I put them in my fridge and get a nice little chill to them. Either way, they're really good. And I guess the most important thing is they're sugar-free, so you don't have to worry about crashing out later on. Enough of the boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in store and online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. I also want to tell you about FanDuel. The NFL season is here. Matter of fact, just about a whole month is in the books. FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets that you could use across the app. Folks love to use FanDuel. They got so many different ways to play. Parlays, player props, even live lines during games. They got it all covered for you. It makes watching football even more exciting when you got a little something riding on the action. So what are you waiting for? You don't even know, huh? Go to FanDuel.com, download the FanDuel app today, and get started. Here we go, Raider Nation. Segment number 3 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Your calls and texts draft that Locked On Raider podcast voicemail line, 707-654-4693. We'll start things off with a text from Mr. Raider 76, a.k.a. Mike. He says, Q, great game yesterday, but it's tough to win when you turn the ball over 4 times. Reason I'm texting, though, is Raider Nation lost a great one. My best friend since I was 9 years old passed unexpectedly from a heart attack. He's been a diehard fan since 68. Can you give him a shout out to Bob Diaz, a true Raider diehard? Thank you, Q. That's from Mr. Raider 76, a.k.a. Mike. And yeah, definitely shout out to Bob, and hate to hear that about him passing away, but thanks for passing along the information. Of course, Raider Nation is rocking with his family, and hoping that they're doing okay with that passing. But thanks for the text. I do appreciate you. And obviously the game didn't go the way that anyone wanted it to go. It could have been at least a tip of the cap to Bob if they had found a way to get the dub, but clearly they did not. Up next, got a call from Sucker Free Raider. He's calling to talk about the game, but in a way that I feel everyone can relate to. Somehow, some way. Here he is, Sucker Free Raider.
Hey, Q, Sucker Free Raider. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, man. You go to a restaurant that you didn't expect too much out of, and you're just like, let me go check this out. Let me try it out. The food starts coming. The steak is good. The baked potatoes better than it looks. And you're like, okay. You got the little side of shrimp or whatever. The meals, and man, you're pleasantly surprised. Like, man, okay. Everything's a lot better than what I thought. And then you finally get I like adult beverages with my meals. So you finally get that adult beverage, and it's just, what the heck just happened? And that's how I feel, man. So it's like everything was good until you got that drink. And I'm gonna let you guess what player I think that drink was. That drink that just kind of messed the whole meal up, man. Anyways, still ride or die. Go Raiders. Let's do it.
Sucker Free, thanks for the call. I got a strong feeling that drink was Geno Smith. I have a feeling that drink was what I talked about in segment number 2, Geno Smith. I like the way you worded it. Obviously, the disappointment almost didn't make it feel as bad when you start talking about the steak and talk about the good food and all that good stuff. And then, of course, the adult beverage did not go the way that you wanted it to. And that was a great way to word what happened to the Raiders on Sunday. So thanks so much for the call. Definitely appreciate you. Up next, got a text from Mason in the 937. What's up, Q? Mason in the 937 here. Turnovers. It's hard to win football games with multiple turnovers. It was refreshing at first to have Geno Smith here slinging the rock around with confidence and trusting his arm. But there's a point where confidence turns into not valuing the ball. As a quarterback, you must value the ball. It's valuable to keep the ball out of other teams' hands and not gift them great field position. Geno Smith now has 7 interceptions on the year through 4 games. That's just not going to get it done, man. We signed A.J. Cole to an extension this offseason. Let him switch the field for us if he needs to. If Geno throws 1 interception instead of 3, we have a significantly higher chance of winning that game. It's hard not to be pessimistic on the outlook of the rest of the season when we feel this deflated and it's not even October yet. I'm a Raider fan for life, Q, but when are they going to start giving back to the fans that put their hearts and souls into this team? When do we finally get to feel a sense of pride when we're rocking our jerseys? Anyway, rant is over. Let's have a great week. Love on our families as always, and go Raiders. That's our guy Mason in the 937. And yeah, again, like I mentioned, such wasted performance, right? The defense did a hell of a job. They were basically put in harm's way so much throughout the course of the game. There was 13 points scored off of Geno's turnovers, right? And the Bears only scored 25, right? So if he doesn't turn the ball over like that, they're not scoring like that. You mess up Max's good performance, the defense's really good performance, and you mess up Ashton's really big day. Because now all that's like, okay, great. You're trying to just find all the fun stuff and trying to find all the positives in a game that was absolute negative because they lost, right? They're 1-3. So yeah, as much as we'd love to celebrate everything that went good, there's just the ultimate what went bad was the L. So and you're right with the valuing the ball. Geno clearly is not valuing the ball at the rate that he should. So thanks so much for the text. I appreciate you. Up next, got a call from Raider Pants. He's calling to talk about the Raiders' loss on Sunday and has an issue with the defense and the play calling. Here's Raider Pants.
Q, Raider Pants, like the pants you wear around your legs. I just got back from Seattle. Did a nice little trip with my family. Took my son to the Mariners Dodger game on Friday. Watched them win. It's funny. I'm bringing this up, taking him to a franchise that actually wins, the Dodgers, because the Raiders don't know how to do that. I'm 40 years old. I've seen nothing but losing from this team. I'm pretty sure people my age have seen nothing but losing as well. They won the Super Bowl when I was not even born yet. And I'm sorry, man, but Graham is not the defensive coordinator. This team needs to turn it around. I was actually really shocked that they let him stay when that should have been flushed. And it's funny to watch players that the GM should also pick up perform well on other teams. Jalen Ramsey looked pretty good today, but no, we won't go do that. My biggest problem is the 3rd and 2 play on the 35. Run the ball right up the middle. Why didn't they do a little pitch play like the Detroit Lions did last week on 4th and goal? Why didn't we do that with Jeanty? Maybe Tucker gets the ball and pitches it to Jeanty. I don't know. Some innovative offense to move the needle, but, all I'm going to say is at the end of the day, Q, is the players get paid whether they perform or not. Same with the coaches. I feel most of these people come here and steal Mark Davis's money because the same thing happens every year. The coaches change, the players change, the same result every single season. I'm okay with them sucking the rest of the season if they're going to commit to an actual quarterback that knows how to play the game of football. I like the kid from LSU. I know my time's coming up, but I don't get mad anymore because I actually watch a franchise, the Dodgers, that know how to win because the Raiders just lose all the time and it hurts my soul. But I don't let it ruin my weekend like I would have in years past. Thanks for all that you do, Q. Love you, man. Go Raiders.
Raider Pants, thanks so much for the call. I appreciate you. I know the defense wasn't fantastic, but I wouldn't put the blame on them. I mean, literally, as I just mentioned, Geno Smith threw 3 interceptions, and the Bears scored 13 points off of that. I definitely wouldn't put that game on the defense. I think that they did a hell of a job even keeping the Raiders in it. Like, if that would have been a good team, the Raiders probably get blown out. If that had been a good team that the Raiders are playing, they would have got blown out. You turn the ball over 4 times, and you get a field goal block, and you lose your left tackle at the end of the game, that game's not even close. That field goal wouldn't even have happened because they wouldn't have been in a position to try to win the game. So I don't put that on Graham. I don't put that on the defense. I put that squarely on the arm of Geno Smith. There's no doubt about that. His mistakes led to this Raiders loss. 100% I'm putting on them. Again, the defense wasn't 100% fantastic. It wasn't like lights out. They did give up points, but they were also on the field forever. They were on the field for 33-plus minutes. The Bears' defense was almost on the field for about 27. Almost. So, obviously, it was a huge discrepancy when it came to time of possession. So, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I'm not putting that one on the defense. I can't do that. But thanks so much for the call. Appreciate you. Up next, got a text from Old Gene. Old Gene in the Raiders. It says, Q, so Old Gene in the Raiders, daily listener, but a new booty to the text line. Is the problem Geno Smith? I feel like we could have won that game if we only had another quarterback. We could not afford for Geno to have one good game and one horrible game all season. Much respect to Mad Max and the defense. Ashton was on. Mostert ran well. Just thought Geno struggled. When it's time to look to the bench? When is it time to look to the bench for another option? That's from Old Gene in the Raiders. Yeah, that's what we talked about in segment number 2. Geno definitely is the problem. And that's not good because they went out and made the move to bring him in to be that franchise quarterback and stabilize that position. And as much as people are going to hate to say it, it still has not been stable since Derek Carr left, right? Not saying that he was the answer, but they clearly haven't got the answer yet since they've gone through all these different quarterbacks. And now Geno is all of a sudden a turnover machine. And so that's a problem. So at some point, like I mentioned in segment number 2, they're going to have to find their guy. So thanks so much for the text. I definitely appreciate you. And hopefully that's not your last text. Like I said, I definitely appreciate the feedback. We'll close out with a call from Colin in Vegas. He's calling after getting home from the game to talk about the big elephant in the room, not the offensive line, but Geno Smith. Here he is, Colin in Vegas.
Yo, Q, what's up, man? This is Colin in Vegas. Just got home, man. Was at the game. First off, man, how embarrassing so many Bear fans there, man. And I will be the first to admit they were louder than us Raider fans, man. I mean, as a PSL holder, I get, fans selling their tickets, man. But man, this is pathetic, man. But man, let's talk about the number one thing, man. Geno Smith, man. He gave up 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions, man. 13 points. The Bears scored on that. And the defense played balls out, man. I mean, I know it's too too soon to say this, man, but at what point, what do we start saying that there should be a quarterback change or something, man? I mean, Pete's all about competition, man, but this is bad, man. The guy looks like he's playing back with the Jets. No confidence, and he's just trying to do these home run balls, man. It's just 2 games, man, where the defense has just played lights out, and the 2 losses are on him, man. I mean, man, I was one that was so hard on Carr, man, but man, I miss him. But it just sucks, man, and we extended him, and I don't know what we did in life to deserve this, man, as Raider fans, but we must have done something. But hopefully next week he can bounce back, man, but that's a tough game against the Colts on the road, and Maxx Crosby had a career game. Ashton Jeanty, welcome to the NFL, had a hell of a game, and it just sucks, man. I'm just a Raider fan, brother. I don't know how you do this and keep it cool, man. I give you mad props, brother, because this sucks, man. I feel like I got a low blow week in and week out. Anyways, man, Q, take care, man. Have a good one.
Colin, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate you. Yeah, Pete was asked about Geno and Kenny Pickett after the game. He said no. He wasn't thinking about benching him. And Geno's going to have to figure something out, right? We're going to talk to him again. I think on Thursday we'll talk to him. Maybe Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday we'll talk to him. And, he'll say he's got to be efficient. He'll say he's got to take care of the ball. He'll say that he's got to look at the film, and that's fine. You can talk about it, but now you got to be about it. You got to go do it, right? Because at some point, the fans are already saying same old Raiders, same old Raiders. At some point, the players in the locker room are going to say same old Raiders, same old Raiders. Maxx was very upset after the game in the locker room. Maxx is like, we got to find ways to win these games. We're close. We just need to find ways to win. But at some point, that close is going to turn into the ultimate frustration. They've got to find a way to win games. But on Sunday, Geno Smith single-handedly cost the Raiders a chance to win that game. Should have won that game. Could have won that game. Didn't win that game. That's on Geno. There's no doubt about that. So thanks so much for the call. Definitely appreciate you. And that's going to do it for today's show. We do have the Raider Squad Show with Lincoln Kennedy, myself, and Chantel Chan. Matter of fact, Lincoln Kennedy and myself will be right here, Studio Q, doing the show as he's still in town. And, of course, Chantel will be remote. But we'll do, us 2 guys back in Studio Q again like we did before. So that's going to be 7:30 to 8:30. Of course, we'll be talking about this game. We'll be talking about Geno Smith, Ashton Jeanty, Maxx Crosby, and a whole lot more. So whenever you get the opportunity, 7:30 a.m. Pacific time, to tune that in, please check it out, the Raider Squad Show, Chantel, Lincoln, and myself. So until tomorrow, Raider Nation, take care of yourself, take care of your family, love on your family. Most importantly, as always, just win, baby.